Rent got too expensive, had to leave LA. So I got into my car and I went away to the big estate. Playing poker every day. Going all in with these fish like I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Back-to-back 1K wins have us going in the right direction. We're not leaving Dallas just yet, but we take a trip down south to see Waco and Baylor University. Check it out. We then head over to a new spot for the vlog, Poker House Dallas. They may be the new kids in town, but a multi-million-dollar investment has them looking like a card room straight out of Vegas, and the service is even better. They brought out a food truck called Manakish with an insane Italian brick oven built right in the back. We ended up trying 2 different kinds and they were both delicious. Inside the card room they were ready for my appearance and had cutout characters of me on all the tables where I could hop back and forth between. Unreal. We jump into the 1-2 game in for $500. First hand a note, we look down at pocket kings from the big blind. There's 2 limps to me and I raise it up to $15, and both the middle position and the button both put in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. Of course, when you have pocket kings, what do you see on the flop? An ace comes ace 8-8, and I decide to start with a check against 2 other opponents here. Middle position bets out for $55, which gets rid of the button, but when the action's back onto me, I think it's too weak to go for a check fold here for just 1 bet, so I toss in $55 and we're going heads up to the turn. Turn comes a 7 of diamonds, which really shouldn't change too much. I decide to check it to my opponent for a second time, and now he rips it all in for $430. Not really the best spot here, but I put myself in the situation when I check the flop. Either he has a strong ace or maybe an 8 in his range. Either way, I'm not going to pay him off here. I'm not going to see what he has. I fold my cards and he's just going to take down this pot uncontested. I'm trying out this new graphic for you guys in the top right where I show you my net profit in the middle of the session so you can follow along and see how I'm playing when I'm down a lot of money or I'm up a lot of money. If you guys like it, make sure to like the video and let me know down in the comments. Let's get on to the next hand. With $550 in our stack, we look down at pocket fives from the low jack. Middle position raises it up to $20 and I put in the call. Small blind doesn't want to play for $20. He raises it up to $120 and the action's on the middle position player. He puts in the call and we're sitting kind of deep here for a 1-2 game, so I'm not going to fold my pocket fives. I put in the additional $100, looking to go 3 ways to a flop. Please dealer, put a 5 out there and we're going to win a massive one. Flop comes ace 10 9, no 5 on the board, not the best flop for us. All 3 cards are overcards to our 5s. Small blind continues with the aggression and rips it all in for $580. When the middle position basically snap calls for less, nothing to do but muck our cards. We're going to see the run out though in this heads up all in. Turn comes a deuce of clubs, river comes a 4 of spades. Thank goodness there's no 5 on either of those cards. Small blind turns over ace king for top pair, top kicker. Middle position mucks, and that's going to do it in that hand. Almost a 1K pot going to the small blind. We pick up kings in the next hand for the second time of the vlog. We're going to try it out and raise it up to $20. We're going to get 2 callers here, so we're going 3 ways to the flop with $62 in the pot. Flop's better for us this time. It comes jack 9-7 with 2 hearts. Small blind checks it to me, and when I'm in between 2 opponents, I like to start with a check. That's what I do, and the button decides to check behind, bringing in the 6 of diamonds on the turn. When the small blind checks to me for a second time here, I think about my options. Obviously, a bet is going to be the best bet in this situation. That's what I do. I fire out for nearly pot $50. Button pretty quickly gets out of the way, and the small blind decides that he wants to play for $50 more. He sticks that in the middle, which gives us another card. Here comes the river. River comes the 4 of diamonds, so now I guess 5-8 and 5-3 now make a straight. Small blind now open rips it for $150, which is definitely a strange play. Let's think about what he could have here. He could have a set, he could have a straight, but I think more likely is busted flush draws. If he had the ace high flush draw on the turn and missed on the river, it's likely he could try to put some pressure on us here and just go all in, hoping to get a fold. For that reason, we have an overpair to the board and not really too much to be scared of other than the random sets and straights. So I put in the call and we're going to see what the opponent has. Sure enough, he turns over what we put him on, or at least what we were hoping he had. Ace 10 of hearts, which is not going to get it done. He had a lot of outs though, and he 8 ace or heart was going to scoop the pot for him, but that's not how it turned out. We're going to take down this $462 pot. Let's go. If you guys are liking this card room and the action already here at Poker House Dallas and you're in the Dallas area ever, come check it out. The guys at Poker House Dallas are giving a promo, 1 free hour and a free daily membership if you mention that Wolf sent you. I don't get anything out of it, but I told them if I was coming out here and I liked the card room, I wanted to give back to my vlog watchers. So there you go, 1 free hour and a daily membership to come check out the card room. Let's go. Next hand, we look down at pocket aces and I decided to raise it up to $20. That brings in the button, so we're going heads up out of position to a flop, which comes ace, queen, jack, bang, we flop top set. Action's on me, and the only hand we're really scared of is king 10. I'm not going to slow down here. I bet out $15, 1/3 of the pot, and the button pretty quickly calls. We're going off to the turn. Turn comes a 10 of spades. Not exactly the best card because any king now makes a straight. I guess you could have a hand like king queen or king jack here and now be better than us, but I have the decision first of betting or checking. We have top set here, but it is a draw heavy board. I decided to check it over to the opponent. Keep the pot size small if he wants to check behind, or if he goes for a bet here. Obviously, I'm not going to be raising. I'm just going to put in the call. Interestingly enough, though, he checks behind, so we're going to see a free turn card, which comes the 9 of spades. As if the 4-liner to the straight was not enough, there is a flush draw now on board that got there on the river. $73 in the pot, and the action's on me. I think a bet opens up the button to go for a raise. When we checked it on the turn, we're kind of capping our hand in terms of what we can have, basically saying that we're scared of any king. But a check here could allow him to bluff with worse hands. Additionally, a small enough bet, we're probably just going to pay it off and keep the pot size small. That's what I do. I check it over to the button. $73 in the pot. The button decides on a nearly pot size bet of $70. Obviously, he could have a king, but we're beating 2 pairs. We're not beating flushes because the board is unfortunately not paired, but I still want to see what he has. I toss in 3 green chips, and sure enough, he turns over king 10. So even though we flopped top set, he flopped the joint. He flopped Broadway. Pretty good turn card for us, at least. If the board ran out like a deuce of hearts and a 3 of diamonds, we would have lost the maximum there. Oh well, on to the next hand. This next one is a fun one. We pick up pocket deuces in late position. Under the gun raises it up to $15, and myself and the hijack both put in the calls, going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes deuce 4-4, bang, we flop a boat. Under the gun checks, the hijack checks it to me, and I decide to check it behind here and possibly let the other 2 opponents catch up. $48 in the pot. The turn comes the 9 of hearts. Under the gun bets out now for $30, and the hijack pretty quickly folds. Action's on me here, and I think a raise would just build the size of the pot, but it would fold out a lot of the hands that can continue here, so I decided to just put in the flat call here, representing a multitude of hands, and off to a river card, which comes a 6 of clubs. $108 in the pot, and the opponent decides to bet nearly all of it. $100 is his bet. Obviously, we're going to go for a raise here and spring the trap. We didn't call in position on the turn to just call this $100 bet on the river. We have to get maximum value now, and I decided the amount that I want to get paid off here is $275. I think if he has any 4, he's going to have to pay us off. Obviously, the spade draws are going to fold, but a 9 might get sticky here as well, along with pocket 8s and the occasional overpairs like 10s or jacks. He takes a while before ultimately tossing in a chip, indicating a call. We turn over our pocket deuces, and he mucks his hand. $658 coming our way. Finally, a nice big pot here at Poker House Dallas. This action is nuts. After drinking a few beers, what do we look down at? No, we're not drunk. We're not hallucinating. We have the bullets, pocket aces, and $900 in our stack. Under the gun raises it up to $12. I'm the low jack, and the player on my right puts in the call. We may be feeling tipsy, but we're not stupid. We're not just going to flat call this $12. I raise it up to $40. Under the gun puts in the call. The other opponent gets out of the way. We're going heads up to the flop. As if we needed any more help in the hand, the flop comes ace 5-6, bang, we flop top set. Under the gun checks it over to me like I would expect him to do with his entire range, and occasionally I would check back here with top set. We have the nuts and we have the board locked up, but there are a lot of draws out there, 7-8, any spade draws, 8-9 has a gutter, stuff like that, so I decided to go for a 1/3 pot size bet here for $30, a very attractive price to the opponent if he wants to call. Maybe he'll raise us if he has a flush draw, but I guess this hand is not our hand. He takes his cards and flicks them into the muck. Nice to be up $250 on this session and flop top set here at Poker House Dallas. We're at a new table, and they bless us here with pocket king, Kings, the Cowboys in Texas. Middle position limps. The button raises it up to $12 and the action's on to me. I make a 3-bet to $35 and the middle position and the button both put in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. With over $100 in the pot, the flop comes 8-8-6. Pretty ideal board for pocket kings, as we should be ahead of the other 2 opponents in the hand. For that reason, I decide to bet $30 and the button puts in the call. Other player gets out of the way, which brings the king of hearts on the turn. Bang, we turn a boat. Absolute banger here, quite literally. We have this board pretty much locked up unless he has pocket 8s. For that reason, I just want to build the pot here. He called us on the flop. Let's bet $55 and hope for the best. Fortunately for us though, he doesn't want to continue in the hand. He mucks his card, so although we turned the gin card there, it appears we didn't need it, and we're just going to book a win in that $183 hand.
What's up, you guys? A little break from the poker action. I'm here at Poker House Dallas. It's hard to miss. Their branding is everywhere. I'm here with Kelly. She is a massage therapy owner here in the Dallas area, and she's worked in poker for the last 6 years. If you're ever at Poker House Dallas, you're going to get the best massages from her and her team. When did you start this company, Kelly?
About 6 years ago, but I've been in the industry for 15. Born and raised in Dallas, and I got my license here in Dallas, and the first thing I did was start working at private poker games.
That's awesome.
And started going to the World Series 8 years ago, and I've worked from New York to Florida to California, Las Vegas, Oklahoma.
That's super sick. Any like big names that my followers would know about that you indirectly had clients for?
I love Mike Mattisau. I was his personal therapist for a few years. He's an amazing human with the biggest heart. A few other big name guys, but Mike is my favorite.
Well, nice to meet you, Kelly.
You too. Nice to meet you, Alex.
After hanging out with Kelly, we hop back into the action on the 1-2 tables. We look down at King 10 of diamonds from the big blind. $5 button straddle is on, and middle position raises it up to $15. I put in the call and the button does as well. We're going 3 ways to the flop, which comes queen, jack 9. Bang, we flop the nuts straight. Nothing for me to do other than check here. I guess I could get some value against the 1 and 2 pair combos as well as the straight and flush draws, but when I check, the middle position and the button both unfortunately do as well, and the turn comes the 8 of clubs. We still have the nuts on this board, and I decided to go for a check raise for a second time here. Middle position checks, and I'm hoping the button obliges and puts in a bet, but unfortunately he does not. I still like my check here on the turn, as I'm expecting any flush draw or pair to go for a bet here, and then I can spring the trap and raise. Fortunately though, we're off to the river, which comes the 3 of hearts. With $46 in the pot, we can't risk it getting checked through for a third time and not get any value in this hand where we have the absolute nuts. So I decided to bet out for $30. I think that's a fair price. Middle position does not think it's a fair price, but the button obliges, tosses in $30. No good for you, sir. I show the table my nuts. They don't like it. He folds, and we're going to take down this $106 pot. We're up $360 on the session. The action's not slowing down just yet. We look down at pocket 9s from middle position, and there's a few limps to me. What do? I raise it up to $25. The cutoff and one of the limpers puts in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. We're looking for it to be all undercards or overcards as long as there's a 9 on the board. Not exactly what we get. It comes king, king, 3. Although we have 2 pair here, the middle position starts with a check and the action's on me. I decided to go for a C-bet here of $25, which gets rid of the cutoff, but the middle position is sticky and he doesn't want to play for $25. He thinks $60 is the price. Although he is raising here, a lot of you would think that he had a king in his hand, but I think pocket 9s is going to be good here a large portion of the time as well. He could just be raising with air, absolutely nothing, or more likely he could have a flush draw, maybe something of the ace 10 variety of clubs. So for that reason, I decided to put in the additional money. We're off to the turn with $200 in the pot. Turn comes a 6 of spades, which if I put him on a club flush draw on the flop, shouldn't really change too much here, and sure enough, he checks to me. I really like this check here, as I don't expect a king to slow down here ever. Given the fact there is a flush draw on board, if he had a hand like king 10, king jack, he'd probably just go for another bet here, somewhere around $125. So for that reason, I want to charge his club draw here and bet $55 into him. He pretty quickly tosses in 1 black chip, indicating a call. He gets his change back, and we're going off to the river. Please, dealer, don't put a club out there. Sure enough, he doesn't. He puts the ace of diamonds out there, which could be a bad card as well if he had something like ace 10, ace 8 of clubs, something like that. But he checks it to me for a second time now, and I decide to check behind. I just want to get to showdown here. $310 in the pot. There's a bunch bunch of overcards to my 9s. Interestingly enough though, he turns over king 8, so he did in fact have a king. Not really sure why he checked on the turn. That confused me and ended up getting him an additional $55. Oh well though, I don't think I lost too much in this hand given the way I played my 9s. I'm pretty happy about it. And we're on to the next hand where we look down at ace 9 of spades. I raise it up to $20 and we get 2 callers. The button doesn't want to play for $20. He also doesn't want to fold. He decides a min raise is the best play to make here, and that's going to accomplish nothing other than build the size of the pot as everybody else puts in the call. 4 ways to the flop here gives us top pair, 9-7-6 on an all club board. I decided to check and the action checks to the button who bets out for $100. Action folds back around to me and I don't think I can fold just yet. I put in the $100 and we're going heads up to the turn. Looking for a non-club, non-overcard, a lot of cards we want to fade here on the turn, and the king of spades is exactly one of those cards we didn't want to see. If he's going for a semi-bluff on the flop, the king will connect pretty well with his range. He'll have the king of clubs in his hand a large portion of the time here. When I check it over to him, he fires out for $200. Thinking about my options here, and I don't really like putting in more money here. If he's betting $200 on the turn, he's most likely going to bet like 400 or 500 on the river, which I just don't think I can call unless the river is like a 9 or something. So for that reason, I'm in it. I fold my hand. We're going to live to fight another battle. We pick our spots for around half an hour before looking down at King Jack offsuit, where middle position raises it up to $15. I put in the call, which brings in the button as well, so going 3 ways to the flop here, looking to flop a big hand. Do you guys consider flopping a king a big hand? Well, I think it's mediocre, and the middle position checks his option. I think King Jack is good enough for a bet here, protecting against some of the straight and flush draws, so $20 is my bet, which gets rid of the button. Does not get rid of the middle position, so going heads up to the turn in a $90 pot, which comes the 5 of diamonds, bringing in the most obvious 8-9 draw, making a straight. But the middle position checks it over to me for a second time here, and given the fact that I have top pair with a good kicker, I decided to go for another bet of value, still getting value from the heart draws and 1 pair type hands, maybe worse kings as well. $50 is the price of admission, Mr. Middle Position. If you want to see the river, that's what you're going to have to call, and sure enough, he does. 6 in the 2 green chips, so we're off to the 4 of clubs on the river, now putting a 4-liner to the straight. Any 3 or 8 will have us beat. Middle position checks it over to me for a third time, and I decide I want to get a little bit more value here, and I go for a $50 bet. Pause the video real quick and let me know down in the comments if this is a mistake. Doing the audio now, I think this could be a mistake. There is a 4-liner out there. There are some missed draws that aren't really going to pay us off for any more value. We're pretty much just targeting worse kings, which I don't know if they're going to call a third street of value here, so I think a check back is probably the best option. Middle position decides that he wants to pay it off for $50 and ends up turning over a stronger hand than I could have put him on, 8-4 of diamonds, so he ended up turning the straight with the redraw to the diamonds. Interesting, he didn't go for the check raise there on the river. Not really too sure what he's scared of other than like 8-9, but he blocks that. Oh well, I think we value owned ourselves a little bit on that hand, $288 going the middle position's way. We then take a picture with a Dallas local legend, Action Ashley. She plays on all the live streams out here, and her dad came out to play. Fortunately for him, he was the one who played in our large hand when we had pocket deuces and won that like $700 pot. But it's really nice playing with you, Action Ashley, and we're on to the next hand here where we look down at Queen 10 of hearts. $5 button straddle is on. Action checks to me, and I bet out for $25. A limper and the button both put in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes Jack 6-10 with 1 heart. Obviously we have a pair of 10s, plus we have a backdoor heart and straight draw, so I decided to go for a C bet of $20 here, and the button decides to call. Middle position gets out of the way, so going heads up to the turn. Turn brings in the obvious front door flush draw. The 4 of spades comes in. Not really loving this card because even though the front door flush draw is there, if he has any king or ace of spades, it gives him additional equity in the hand. For that reason, I check it over to the button looking to see what he's going to do, but he decides to give us a free card and check behind, so the 5 of diamond peels off on the river, which really shouldn't change too much. I decided to check it over to him for a second time, but he doesn't want to get to showdown just yet. He's either getting some value value from us here or going for the bluff. He bets out for $75. When I think about the way this hand was played, when I check it to him on the turn, there's no reason for him to check behind with any flush. I guess a jack could make sense, but then on the river, when I check it to him, a jack would probably just check behind and get to showdown. When he bets out pretty large, he's polarizing his hand, basically saying he has a bluff or he has a spade flush. I just think he has more bluffs in his range than spade flushes, so I decided to pay him off here and get a little sticky. I toss in 3 green chips, tell him to show me what he has.
Good call on this. Yeah, good call. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, no.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
slow rolling for the vlog.
I know this is going to bother a few of you guys, but when I stick in the call, he says, good call, I missed, and I immediately turn over my cards. I know a lot of you have been commenting in my videos to let the other opponent show his cards first, but fortunately, we're not going to see what he has. I can only expect him to have a hand like king, queen, or maybe a missed spade draw, but I'm not too mad about this hand. He mucks his cards, and we're going to take down this $266 pot. Happy I took a second there on the river to think about what he could be betting here with. Just the size of his bet there really screamed polarization, meaning a flush or nothing. And I just thought it was more nothing, and I was right.
Did you actually think he may have had it, or were you joking?
I was bored.
If you guys made it this far and are not subscribed, what are you doing? Drop a subscribe on this video. We're making a push to get to 30K subs. Really appreciate all the support. Last hand of the night, we pick it up on the flop. We look down at king 10 offsuit, and the flop is queen jack 4. We're 3 ways here, and the middle position bets out for $45. With our open-ended straight draw and backdoor straight flush draw, I decided to put in the $45, which brings in the button as well. So going 3 ways to the turn, which comes a queen of spades. Not exactly the best card because now any queen has trips, but when the middle position bets out for $65, I think this is a fair price for me to draw to the straight. Any ace or any 9 is likely going to win us a pretty large pot, so I decided to put in the $65 and the other opponent gets out of the way. We're looking for an ace or a 9 on the river, which comes the ace of spades. Bang, we river Broadway. Opponent bets out for $75. Even though the board is paired, we can't really be scared about that. Why do we call on the flop in the turn just to make Broadway and then just flat the $75? So I decided to put the opponent all in. He only has around 175 in his stack. I stick out a stack of green chips, more than covering the opponent, who thinks about it for a little while before tossing in his cards. Interesting, he'd bet out there for $75 on the river and then fold for $100 more. I guess he might have had a diamond draw that bricked out. Either way though, we're going to take down that $388 pot, which puts us back into the green, net $225 profit.
Alright you guys, that wraps up day 1 of the meetup here at Poker House Dallas. Got into the game for 500, rebought for 200 after a swingy start, but then worked our way up to like 1100, then back down to like 500, and we ended up cashing out for 959. Profit of 259. Always good to get a profit on this session. This is how we're doing on the road trip so far. It's still going up. That's a trajectory we like to see. Shout out to everyone here at Poker House, Reese, Valerie, everybody that I met today was awesome. The food was great, the service was great, the alcohol was flowing. What else could you ask for in a poker room? As always, like the video, subscribe if you're new, share this with a friend, leave a comment down below. Good luck on the felt. As always, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.